Hi everyone, and welcome to today's fourth grade informative writing lesson. We are in section 2, lesson 23, and my name is Mrs. Collum, and I will be your teacher throughout today's entire lesson. Let's go ahead and get started. For today's objective, you're going to be learning about informative writing prompts. All of section 2 is about informative writing, so we're going to start today with prompts. So let's go ahead and jump into these informative prompts. Let's talk about informative writing. Informative writing is when you are writing to inform your reader about something. You're going to read text, and then you're going to write your essay based on what you just read in that text. Now, all that text means is passages or articles or stories. So you're going to read different text, and then you're going to write your essay based on what you just read. For most of section 2, the lessons are going to have passages or articles that go with them. You'll be reading those passages and articles first, and then you'll be planning and writing your essay based on what you just read. So as a quick review, informative reading is when you are writing to inform your reader about something. Now, there are certain key words you're going to want to look for in a prompt to identify it as an informative prompt. The key words for informative writing are explain, which you may also see as explanatory sometimes. The other keyword is inform, which may also be written as informative, and teach. If you see any of those keywords, you know that's an informative prompt and you'll be writing an informative essay. Remember, as you learn all the different genres of writing, it's important that you know the keywords to each type of writing so then you can identify what type of prompt it is. And that way you know what type of essay you'll be writing. Okay, so when you see the keywords explain, explanatory, inform, informative, or teach, you're going to know right away, aha, that's an informative prompt, and I know I'm writing an informative essay. Okay, so if you have a writing notebook or notes, you might want to jot down these keywords and note them as informative writing prompt keywords. Okay, that way you'll know from now on when you see those words, that means you're writing an informative essay. So let's do some practice. Let me show you how to read these prompts and identify these keywords, and then really talk about what the prompt is asking you to write about. Okay, take a look at the screen. I'm going to read this prompt out loud to you. Your teacher has asked that you write a paper about alligators. Write an informative essay to present to your class about alligators. Use information from the passages in your essay. Now, take a look at this prompt. Do you see any of the keywords in this prompt that might help you to know what type of prompt this is and what type of essay you'll be writing? The keyword is actually in the second sentence. It says, write an informative essay. The keyword is informative. We know that when we see the keyword informative, we are writing an informative essay. Okay, so the keyword is informative, and what exactly is the prompt asking us to write about? Take a look at that prompt again. What exactly do we have to write about? This is actually a pretty easy prompt. It's just telling us to write about alligators. Okay, it says write an informative essay to present to your class about alligators. So it's not giving us anything specific. It's literally telling us just to write about alligators. So we can write about anything in our essay as long as it is about alligators. Let's look at another example. Your teacher has asked that you write a paper about climates. Write to inform your reader about climates. Your essay must be based on ideas and information from the passages. Okay, so we've read our prompt. Now let's identify the keyword. Take a look at that prompt again. Do you see the keyword anywhere? I'll give you a few seconds. The keyword is in the second sentence. Does everybody see it? The keyword is inform. And that way we know we are writing an informative essay because the keyword inform is there. Now let's look at the second question in pink. What is the prompt asking you to write about? First, we have to identify the keyword, but then we have to ask ourselves, what is the prompt asking us to write about? That way we know exactly what to plan for and what to write about in our essay. So after you read this prompt, what is the prompt asking you to write about? It's pretty simple, right? It tells us to inform our reader about climates. We are asked to write about climates. There's nothing specific. It's just saying write to inform your reader about climates. Some prompts that you see are going to be very general and easy to follow, like this one and the previous one about alligators. Some may be more specific and ask you to write about specific things about climate or alligators. But this one on the screen is just a simple prompt about writing to inform your reader about climates. All right, next example. Write an informative essay on why alligators are considered an endangered species. Use information from the passages in your essay. Now, take a few seconds and look for the key word. The key word is actually in the first sentence of this prompt. And the key word is informative. That's pretty easy, right? I love it when it has an easy keyword for us. It is informative, so we know it's an informative prompt and we'll be writing an informative essay. So now that we know the key word, what is the prompt asking us to write about? Now, I want you to reread this and I want you to really think about this. This might be a little trick question. I'm going to give you 5 more seconds. Okay, now, this prompt is not general. It didn't just say write about alligators. This prompt was very specific, okay? So if you said, oh, I got it, you have to write about alligators, that's not the right answer. It's a little more specific. This prompt is asking us to write about why alligators are considered an endangered species. Okay, there's a big difference between the first prompt we read that just said write to inform your reader about alligators. That one, you can just write about anything. You can write about the food they eat, where they live, and different things about them. But for this one, it doesn't want that information, the general. It wants us to tell why alligators are considered endangered species. So this one's a little more specific. So to answer the second question, what is the prompt asking you to write about? The answer would be why alligators are considered an endangered species. Okay, so you see the difference? We have some general ones and we have some specific prompts. So make sure you always ask yourself, what is the prompt asking me to write about? All right, we've done 3 practice. And before we go on to the guided practice, I just want to talk about analyzing prompts because you're going to try something on your own in a few seconds. All right, now remember, analyzing prompts means reading them, looking over them, and figuring out the key words and exactly what they're asking us. So step 1, identify the keywords. Okay, that way we know our purpose. We need to know, are we writing an informative, an expository, opinion, narrative? These are all different genres of writing. Okay, so we know the keywords we went over today, explain, inform, and teach, mean that we're going to be writing an informative essay. Step 2, in your own words, what is the prompt asking you to write about? Remember, we have to ask ourselves, what is the prompt asking us to write about? That way we know what to write our essay about. And step 3, is the prompt asking us to write about something general or something very specific? Remember, the first prompt, I'm going to go back to it just to show you real quick. The first prompt said, write an informative essay to present to your class about alligators. So when the question asks, what is the prompt asking you to write about? Just alligators. Okay, but the third prompt is more specific. This one is asking us to write why alligators are considered an endangered species. Okay, so just make sure you really look at the prompts and figure out what they're asking you to write about. All right, now let's look at these 2 prompts. Okay, and then I really want to talk to you about them being general or specific and really look at what they are asking us to write about. Okay, let's start with prompt A. Your teacher has asked that you write a paper about electricity. Write an informative essay about electricity. Your essay must be based on ideas and information in the passages. Now, does anybody see the key word in that prompt? The key word is in the second sentence and it is informative. So we know we are going to be writing an informative essay. Now, what exactly is this prompt asking us to write about? We know it's asking us to write about electricity, but is it just electricity in general? Can we write about anything electricity? Or is it asking us for something specific? This prompt is actually just keeping it general. It's just saying write an informative essay about electricity. So when we go to write this essay, we're just going to pick 3 things about electricity from the text. All right, But let's take a look at prompt B. I'm going to read it out loud for you. Write an informative essay on the importance of electricity. Use information from the passages in your essay. So first, we identify the key word. Hopefully you all saw that in the first sentence. It's informative. And then second, we're going to ask ourselves, what is this prompt asking us to write about? We know it's electricity, but we've got to take that next step and say, is it asking us just electricity in general, or is it asking us for something specific? Prompt B is actually asking us for something specific. It is asking us to write about the importance of electricity. Okay, there's a big difference. For prompt A, you can pick any 3 things you want about electricity, and you can write about them in your essay. But for prompt B, your 3 things have to be based around why electricity is important. Okay, so you want to make sure you're being specific with prompt B. This is a perfect example of 2 prompts that are very similar that can be a little confusing for students when they first read because they may just think they're both about electricity in general. But we need to make sure we're always rereading and analyzing the prompts to make sure we know exactly what that prompt is asking us to write about. Let's look at another one. Now, we're going to start with the guided practice number 1. I'm going to do this one with you, and then you're going to do the next 3 on your own. Okay, so let's look at this one together. I'm going to pull it up for you on my document camera. All right. Now, number 1 says, write an informative essay to present to your class about the human body. Use information from the passages in your essay. Now, for this guided practice, first we're finding the key word, and we're going to circle the keyword. Does anybody see the keyword in this prompt? The keyword is informative, so I'm going to circle the keyword, and now I know this is going to be an informative essay I'm going to be writing because I found the keyword. Now the second part of the directions say, then explain what the prompt is asking you to write about. So I'm going to take a look, write an informative essay to present to your class about the human body. Use information from the passages in your essay. This one's pretty general. It's not asking me for anything specific. So the prompt is asking me to write about the human body. Okay, so I circled my keyword and I wrote what the prompt is asking me to write about. Okay, now I'm going to do number 2 with you as well, just to make sure, and then you're going to do 3 and 4 on your own. So let's look at number 2. Write an informative essay about the effects your lungs and brain have on the rest of your body. Use information from the passages in your essay. So let's start with finding the keyword and circling it. I see the keyword right in the first sentence. It is informative again, so I'm going to circle it. And I know I'm going to be writing an informative essay. Now I have to look at what is the prompt asking me to write about. Take a look at that prompt. Is this general about the body like number 1? Because number 1 just said write about the human body. Or is this something more specific? It's actually something more specific. This one's asking me to write about the effects your lungs and brain have on the rest of the body. So my answer on the second part of the question, or the directions say, then explain what the prompt is asking you to write about. So when I explain, I'm going to say, it's asking me to write about the effects your lungs and brain have on the rest of your body. So you can see prompts number 1 and 2 have the same topic. They're both about the human body, but number 1 is just saying write about the human body. Number 2 is asking about the effects of the heart and lungs on the human body. So it's a little bit different, more specific. All right, now this is what I want you to do. All right, for the guided practice, I want you to read the prompt, circle the keyword, and then write what the prompt is asking you to write about. You're going to do number 3 and 4 on your own. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause this video, do number 3 and 4, and then come back to the video and push play. All right, welcome back. If you're back, that means you've done number 3 and 4. So I want to take a minute and I want to go through number 3 and 4 so you can check your answers. All right, so number 3, you should have circled the word informative. Go ahead and check your number 3. And then you should have said that you were writing about magnetism, because this prompt just said, write an informative essay to present to your class about magnetism. Use information from the passages in your essay. So for this prompt, we're simply writing about magnetism. We can pick any 3 things we want. Let's look at prompt number 4. For prompt number 4, you should have circled the keyword informative again. Okay, and then when the second question said, what is the prompt asking you to write about, it was more specific. You should have wrote, it's asking you to write about the use of magnets and how magnetism occurs. Okay, so again, prompts 3 and 4 are both about magnetism, but number 3 is just saying write about magnetism. Number 4 is asking about the use of magnets and how magnetism occurs. So it's much more specific. So that way, when you have read these prompts, or when you read any prompt, you are now able to identify the keyword, and then you're able to ask yourself and analyze that prompt and know exactly what the prompt is asking you to write about. Okay, those are huge steps to take before you even start planning for writing. You need to know exactly what type of essay you're writing, and you need to know exactly what you're writing about, specifically what you're writing about. Then you can plan for the essay, and then you can write the essay. Okay, so this is an important step in the writing process, is identifying those keywords and analyzing the prompt. All right, let's go back to the PowerPoint and continue. Now, I want you to take this paper that you just did, the guided practice, okay, and I want you to do some self-assessment. Now, anytime we do an activity, I always give you time to self-assess and reflect, because I really want you to think about the work that you did, and I want you to be able to learn from it and grow as a writer. Okay, the way that you become better is by practicing and reflecting on your strengths and weaknesses, and then working on those weaknesses and doing better with your strengths overall. So you can grow as a writer if you take that time to self-assess. So I want you to go through, make sure you've circled the keywords, and I also want you to make sure that you had the correct answers, and I'm going to put them up one more time. Now, if you need more time, I want you to push pause on the video so you can check your papers. Now, if you got one wrong, no problem. Just make a note of the correct answer, and then make a mental note of what you need to work on as far as identifying prompts and keywords. Okay, back to the PowerPoint. All right, we've gone over all of the guided practice. And what I want you to do is I want you to take your guided practice that you just did, okay? And now you've already self-assessed, we've gone through, you've checked your paper, you know if you've got the keywords right or wrong, you know if you've answered about what the prompt is asking correctly or incorrectly, and now I want you to reflect. Okay, this is that time I want you to take as a writer, and I want you to ask yourself some questions, okay? I'm gonna go through the questions, and if you need to pause this video to spend more time, that is perfectly fine, because reflection is a key part of the writing process, okay? So I want you to ask yourself, what did I do well? Okay, maybe you were able to identify all the keywords. Maybe you were able to identify the prompts when it was general. Whatever you were able to do well, just make a mental note. You don't need to write this down, you're just making a mental note. Second question I want you to ask yourself is, what did I forget? Maybe you forgot when it was asking you something specific, or maybe you forgot to circle a keyword. Whatever you forgot, I just want you to make a mental note. That way you can work on that next time. And the last question as part of the reflection is, what confused me? Okay, I really want you to think about if you were confused about a certain part of this, and then I want you to reach out to your teacher or your parent to make sure you can clear up that confusion and find out exactly what you need to make sure you understand keywords and analyzing prompts. Because when we move into the next few lessons, you're going to move into planning and then writing the essay, but you don't want to do all that until you truly understand identifying keywords and analyzing prompts. All right, so take a look at those questions in your paper. Take some time to reflect. Remember, if you need more time, push pause and then come back to the video and push play. And the last part of this is revising. Now, you all know if you did section 1 that we always take time to self-assess, reflect, and revise. And revising is just your time to check your work and make sure it's the best it can be before you submit it to your teacher or your parent. Okay, so I always say start at the top of the list and work your way down, and always ask yourself, did you forget something? And if you did, take the time now to add it. If you made a mistake, no problem. Take the time now to fix it. And then always check for capitalization, punctuation, spelling, and clarity. And these are things that you want to take time to go over in any type of writing, even if it's something as simple as prompts. Okay, so if there was an error, go ahead and fix it now. Now that we've gone over this, I've showed you how to do it. We've done a lot of practice together. Now I want you to show what you know. So if you take out the lesson 23 independent practice, I'm going to show you a picture of it really quickly. You're going to be doing the same activity that we just did, except this time you're going to do it completely on your own. This is your time to show what you know. So you are going to read each prompt, then you're going to circle the key word in every prompt, and then you're going to explain exactly what the prompt is asking you to write about, just like we did in the guided practice. Okay, so I want you to pause this video, take time, maybe 10 minutes or so, to complete this activity, and when you're done, come back to the video and push play, and we will wrap up today's lesson. So go ahead and push pause. Okay, you're back, which means you are done with your independent practice activity. Great job. I know that you were able to do it because we were able to go through it, learn it, and practice it today. Okay, let's go back to the last part of this presentation for today. I want to make sure that we end it with a great, oh, I skipped over it. I'm going to the end because I don't want this to go without saying how awesome you guys did today. All right, let's get to the end slide. Great job today, okay? This is just the beginning of informative writing, but it's a huge part of it. So awesome job with identifying those keywords and analyzing the prompts, and I will see you in the next lesson. Have a great day, everyone.